Hi, I'm Ilan Lieberman. I've got the privilege of being a co-founder of Elyfia, the health coaching platform. And today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about exercise. So we all know exercise is good for you. You don't need to watch this video to realize that. However, what I think people miss is that our bodies need to be used. They need to be used every day. We spend much of our time sat at a desk or stood in front of a screen, and that's not what we were designed for. So our bodies need to be used. They're like a Ferrari engine. You leave it in the garage, you don't turn the engine over, it seizes up. And your body's the same thing, it seizes up. But a lot of my patients say to me, well, how do I use my body? How do I exercise? Because everything hurts. And I just can't start. And I don't know what to do. And when I do exercise, I'm in agony afterwards, and I do too much, or I'm not sure what type of exercise to do. And that's where the platform comes in. First of all, we have coaches that will talk you through what is useful for you. And we take questions from you, and we understand the resources that are available. Some people that use our app have their own home gym. Some people live in accommodation which doesn't allow them to do that. Some people use a council gym, a public gym. Some people have private facilities. So we understand the resources that you have, and then we help you to set goals and to design exercise regimes and activity regimes that, first of all, you really enjoy. Okay, and that you can repeat and you can build on. And then we encourage you, we nudge you to keep on track. And I think that's part of the secret sauce within our app, is that we help you to maintain a regular pattern of exercise and a regular activity cycle. So I'll just talk about a lady I met recently in clinic who said to me, look, I used to be a big exerciser. Then I developed my fibromyalgia. I was put on drugs. I put weight on. I had some life events which were really awkward and unfortunate. And look at me now, I'm a size 16. I used to be a size 8. How do I exercise? And I said to her, listen, can you walk around your flat? And she looked at me like I was being rude and said, of course I can. And I said, well, that's a form of exercise. I said, but you need to start thinking about doing that regularly. And I said, can you get to your front door? Of course I can. I said, can you get to the bottom of your garden? Of course I can. I said, that's enough. Okay. And then I started to say to her, well, look, let's set a goal that you're going to walk around your flat a few times if the weather's terrible outside, and you're going to walk to the end of the garden a few times. And that's your first goal. And she said, fine, I'll do it. So she started to do that. And she came back and she said, look, it was a bit uncomfortable, but I did it. And now my little envelope's got a bit bigger. And I worked with her so that she was starting to walk towards the end of her street. And then she met some mates outside who were doing a bit of a walk, and they built up the extent and duration of what she was doing. Her social life improved because she was seeing people she hadn't seen before for a while. And that's where you start. Now, I've used one example, walking, okay, but obviously there are lots of other examples. There's steps in your house. There's steppers you can buy cheap from Lidl and Aldi. There are activity watches that feed into our data platform that can help you measure your steps, measure your activity, measure your heart rate. And we build upon all of that to help you get from where you are to where you need to be. But that takes time. And the other thing about exercise that people don't tell you is that there is sort of hard science and physiology behind some of the problems that people have with fibromyalgia. And we know that some of the population of fibromyalgia patients don't have mitochondria, which are the little energy factories in their cells that work as well as they could. And we know that sometimes that produces a bit too much lactate, and that's why some of your aches and pains occur. And so we look at the service users that we have who can speed us back data around their heart rate, and we guide you through exercising at 60% of your heart rate, which is really walking and exercising so that you can talk the way that I'm talking. Okay, if you start to become breathless during your exercise and you can't get out full sentences, you're working at higher than 60% of your heart rate, and that's too much for most of our service users. So we guide you through that type of activity. And when you're having a bad day, when you're miserable, when you really don't want to do anything, that's where the coaches are online to be able to say, look, I'm having a terrible day. What do you think I should do this afternoon? And you will get a response. Someone will come back to you and say, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? That way, we help you as a friend virtually through the phone to keep up regular cycles, to keep on doing things, and to keep on track.